Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Shift, When the Shift Hits the Fan. And you're here tonight with two shifters, two ladies that know how to shift through thick and thin and through hell and waters high. My name is Mark Jeffrey, and I'm here with my co-host tonight again, Linda Lehman. I'm a little bit hoarse today, my friends. I've been out in the beautiful winter weather that we have here, but you're breathing in all that cold air, and sometimes you get a little bit of a hoarseness there. Tonight we're talking about something that I think is really important. It's quitting on yourself. And I know through my life there's been times where I've just simply said enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. And my biggest challenge, of course, as everyone knows who listens to us week after week, is that my biggest challenge was cancer. And even though I made it through it, Linda's going through this process, it wasn't that easy. There was a lot of times in that space of time, in those 2 years, that I really didn't want to go on and keep fighting. It was tiring. It took everything that I had to actually get up every morning and motivate myself to get up and do it again. Now, and I have to think about this because I have to put you in the position and the feelings that I had at that time. Is I was down several quarts of blood that I was unaware of. I had to have a few transfusions to get my blood levels up. I was working, traveling the world. I was actually conducting a very full life that most people can't keep up with, not even realizing that at the same time my body and my life was being taken away by cancer. And then when I found out and was diagnosed and found out how bad everything was, there was time when I'm going, oh, why should I even bother? It was just everything was stacked against me. But inside me, I have a little fire that burns. I'm a Scorpio, so that is probably going to give you half of the answer right there. I'm a Scorpio, I'm stubborn, I'm Irish. I mean, I had all of these internal mechanisms that could actually push me through those times where I was feeling sorry for myself. And really, that's all it was. I just didn't want it to be there. I was feeling sorry for myself. So I could have easily have just quit, but it just came up inside me going, well, that's pretty lame. You're just going to walk away from a really cool challenge. So my logic part of my brain would distance itself from the emotional part of my brain and allow me to make better decisions for myself. But I also know that most of the people that are on here tonight, and there's lots of you tonight, so obviously this is something that is probably bothering you to some great extent, is when you quit all the time at things and you never give yourself a chance. You start things and you never complete them. Linda, what goes on inside people's brains when they're serial quitters? What's going on?
Well, Mark, a lot of people don't even know that there is something going on. They're really, really good at making excuses. Oh, I'm going to quit because the time isn't right, the finances aren't right, or I just feel so horrible and I just want to curl up in this corner and not go on anymore. They don't even realize a lot of times that they are giving up on themselves and they are quitting. And that's because 95% of all of our, actions and activity is really being dictated by our subconscious mind, and it's not the conscious mind that we use, like we're using right now, where we're having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Our conscious mind is engaged. That's only about 5% of it. The other 95% is being controlled and dictated by our subconscious mind, and it doesn't think for itself. It just acts based on how it's been conditioned in the past. Now, we do have the opportunity and the ability to change some of that conditioning, but the first thing we need to do, Mark, is realize that it's there. If we're not following through, let's just say that we have a goal in mind that we want to achieve, but if we give up on it, if we don't follow through, it doesn't mean that the goal is bad. What we want to do is ask ourselves, why am I giving up on this? Is the goal not big enough? Or is there something else lurking in there that I need to explore? I need to find out what it is so that I can move it on.
Well, do you think, Linda, sometimes too that people don't even really have a goal? You know, they just start off on something, but they really don't have a plan or a goal or anything to go with it. And do you think that's part of the problem there too?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's just like hopping in the car and say, I'm going to come visit you, Mark. I certainly wouldn't hop in the car without some idea, a map or GPS or something plugged in so I know which direction to go. But most of the time, people will pretty much live life by default. And you know, some miracle money-making scheme will come along. Oh yeah, I want to do that. Well, if it doesn't work in the first 2 hours or 2 days, they give up on it. That's because they don't have a goal in mind. They don't know where they want to go or where they want to be. It's not necessarily how they're getting there that's important. That, you know, what do they want to do? Where do they want to live? What kind of vacations do they want to have? What kind of relationship or car or whatever? They don't have any idea. They haven't taken the time to sit down and say, okay, what do I want?
Yeah, I think that, you know, that's part of it too. And I think sometimes, you know, it's like everything, right? Sometimes we take on things that are just a little bit outside of our skill level, and sometimes a whole lot out of our skill level. But just, you know, let's take small steps here, like something like you said, you want to make money working from home. So great idea. So you get on the internet and you start looking at things, and, you know, you kind of, you know, and I mean, gosh, that's probably the worst way to actually start any kind of business is looking on the internet. And that's like throwing, you know, an arrow at a map, right? Or a dart at a map, and wherever it lands, you'll go. This takes a lot of research, but, you know, you go ahead and you do that, and you're right. A lot of people, they believe the hype and different things that are out there. And so when they don't make the money right off the bat, like they were told in the little 2.5-second video that they watched, then they give up on themselves. But then here's the thing that happens. You got to have some skills to do this. That's number one. If you can't run a business, and I'm going to say this straight up, if you couldn't go out and run any kind of a business, that means hire people, do the payroll, manage the books, order the inventory. If you can't do all of that right now, you can't run an online business either. You're going to have to gain some skills. I mean, it's just really simple. I don't care what anybody says about anything. Linda and I are both very successful working online, but I didn't come by this. I got online and I made money my first day. I've been building my skills for the last 5 years, and a lot of those people that you see out there, they've been building their skills too, but trust me, they are only where they are right now because they didn't quit. They had the confidence inside themselves to keep on going. And if you look at most of their stories, though, you're going to find where you hear this from bankrupt to hero, whatever the story is, or, you know, I lost everything. And it's because their first venture online, a lot of them did go bankrupt doing that. And they just don't tell you the whole story. Because the reality is, like a lot of things, Linda, if you knew the whole story, the fear would keep you paralyzed, right? You know, as humans, we do that, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's kind of the glory, though, Mark, about going toward a goal, because it's not up to us to push the how. It's up to us to know what we want and push forward to it. But you hit the nail on the head. It takes skill. And if we don't personally have the skill, we have two choices. we can either learn the skill, or we can find somebody who has the skill and either hire them or trade services. Maybe you have some skill that they don't have so that you can swap it out. I think Andrew Carnegie called it specialized knowledge. You don't have to have all of the specialized knowledge of the whole world. You just need to know where to find it and either teach yourself or learn from somebody else or hire someone. You know, it's really interesting. And just to kind of give an example, I was doing some research and rereading some passages out of a book I read a long time ago, preparing for our show, and it was by Sharon Lecter and Greg Reed. It's called 3 Feet from Gold, and it was published by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And in that, they tell a story about a gentleman, and actually it was his uncle, who back in the big gold boom, he decided that, oh, wow, I'd like to go strike it rich mining gold. Well, he went without any kind of knowledge about exactly where to look or what to do, but he went and he staked a claim, and he had some success. But the problem was that, he struck this vein, and he went back and he borrowed money from friends and family so he could buy a big equipment so that he could mine the gold out of the ground better and faster. Well, what happened was, because he didn't have this knowledge about exactly where to look and what happens, he was successful for a little bit, and then the gold ran out. And, he didn't know what to do. And really, being a gold miner was not his passion. And so when the gold ran out, he just gave up, and he quit, and he sold all of this equipment and his claim to a local junk dealer. Now, this junk dealer had a passion. He always wanted to be a gold miner. And so he had been doing research for probably almost 10 years, and he studied it, and he knew what to look for. And so when he took over the claim, he actually brought in like a geologist or somebody who could study the earth and the vein and see what happened and see where he needed to dig next. And the cool thing was where the other gentleman had actually busted through the vein instead of following the vein, only 3 feet away from where they quit, if they had just turned and gone the other direction, they would have hit the mother lode of all mother lode of veins if they had just followed that.
Yep. Skill, knowledge. Yep. But it's funny too. That's what you hear, right? Gave up just before you were going to become success. You hear these stories time and time and time again, giving up on the final yard into it. And I guess you have to kind of look at yourself. If that's really what you're doing all the time, you really have to start delving deeper into who you are as a person. Like, are you choosing things that aren't good for you, that somebody else told you would be a good idea, and you're just choosing things that way? I mean, I guess you could equate this too, right, Linda? People who are married and divorced a gazillion times, right? They just didn't take one relationship and try to make it work. They just, this isn't working, divorce. Oh, this one looks good over here, I'll take that one. Oh, this isn't working out, divorce. And they're serial divorcers, serial quitters. All of I think it's a type of personality that just never learns how to see anything through.
Right. They keep, it's the same story over and over again. It's the same story that they're telling themselves over and over again. It's like, I can't ever attract somebody good like Sally Joe over there. The people I always attract are, the losers, the ones that don't keep their job, blah, 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 and they're right. Because that's get into a little bit of the law of attraction, that's what they're putting out, so that's what they're attracting back. And they don't have the self-confidence or the self-esteem to build themselves up and decide, okay, I've certainly experienced what I don't want, so what are the qualities that I want? What do I like? And then they, start focusing on that. Mark, I touched on previously about this old conditioning that all of us have. And it's not our fault, and it's not our parents' fault or anybody else's, but it just is built when we're young based off of somebody else's perception of how things should be. And the way that we can get those out of there, Mark, and we do need to get those out. If we want to succeed, we have to push some of that old conditioning out. We need to change it. There's a wonderful word out there called praxis, Praxis, and praxis means aligning your actions with your beliefs. Now, a lot of times we may say something, or you may say something and say, oh, I believe that, oh, I believe that. But do you really, are you truly acting like you believe it?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time.
Oh, yeah, I think, some people, when they do that, they're not really true to themselves. Like, they don't really believe it. And I see this every day, and you do too, coaching people when they're starting in a home business. And we specialize in this, you guys. This is what we do. We get people started in online businesses, and we work with them to find out, where their challenges are going to be and what's the best business for them to be in to suit their skill level and their monetary level that they need, and all of those things, right? But the thing is, in talking to people, there's this, I don't know, it's something that, for me, I hear it nearly all the time, is I guess it's not even aligning it. It's not even, I don't even know where to align it. You know what I mean, Linda? Like I'm clueless in Seattle. I want something, but there's no drive to actually set up the plan or to see where you even need it to go to get the desired result. And I think alignment, we talk about the law of attraction and all that stuff, and I know a lot of people said, oh, that's just hogwash. But I can truly tell you that the hogwash lays on the other side of that statement, not in where it is, because I think when you have that piece of you that knows something, I think that's where success happens. Like, if I know that I can write a full sentence, I know what a sentence is comprised of, and I can write one, okay? Compared to, like you said, well, I think I know, like I think I can do it, or I might be able to do it, and not sitting down and understanding what comprises a sentence and where it has to start, where it has to end, and what it needs to contain. People fake that out. They go, oh, yeah, I can do that, or, oh, I can learn that. But it's like a fake, right? It's just a fake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And, I think that one thing that all of us should do, and, those that have been successful have done, and that is, Mark, we have to push our ego aside. And realize that we have to start someplace. We have to start not knowing. And if we start from that point of not knowing, then we can learn. And then the whole world opens up to us, because we can ask for help, or we can do our research and learn how, so that we give ourselves permission not to know. Because then that opens up the learning phase. But Mark, too, this all also goes back to trying to figure out what it is that we truly want. What makes our heart go faster when we think about doing this or being this? Like, people want to work from home, but why? why do they want to work from home? Or if you want to earn $1 million over the next year, why? Why do you want it? And, Mark, we have these beautiful faculties in our mind, intellectual faculties, and we all have heard of them, but I don't think that many people have learned how to use them to their benefit. There's things like imagination and intuition and our will, which is our ability to focus on things. And when we start exercising those, like building this vision in our mind of exactly where we want to go, where we want to be, and then we bring our emotions into it. We feel excited about it. We feel what it feels like to already have accomplished these things. That's when the magic happens. I said that the subconscious mind is operating like 95% of the time. Well, Mark, it can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So when we're getting involved with our imagination as to what we truly want out of life, and we feel it, we taste it, we touch it, and we do this consistently, day in and day out, what we're doing is we're telling our subconscious mind that this is real, this is what we want, and that's how we start pushing out that old conditioning, maybe those paradigms that sunk in when we were 5 years old when we overheard our parents arguing about money. And they said, the Smiths down the street are filthy rich. So that tells a 5-year-old that money is dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do this self-sabotage when we're adults and we want to earn more money. But this 5-year-old impression of money is that it's dirty. Well, every time we take steps forward, we're going to unknowingly, unconsciously sabotage ourselves because we don't want to be dirty.
Exactly. I think, too, what you have to do in any situation, you have to sit there and you have to ask yourself a question, am I going to use this situation as a catalyst to grow and evolve, or am I going to use it to beat myself up and quit again? Because really, turning our dreams into realities means that we have to learn how to transmute the negative and turn it into a positive. It's the most important life skill. I think, once you can get that down, you can transform any pain into peace and any turmoil into triumph. I mean, we've all endured, all of us, every single one of us have endured something in our lives that stopped us right dead in our tracks. This was kind of unexpected. We've all done that. We've all had hardships. We've all had tragedies. We've all had these setbacks. But I think when we can actually just stop in the middle of it, and see the beauty and the rightness in all the things in our lives, like how is this going to change me? How is this going to make me stronger? I think when we can center on that, the quitting stops. The quitting just stops because it's like I just said, it's like how I've changed so much in, I would say, probably the last 7 years the most. So who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, you can. But just being able to just stop, and when the bad is just coming right over top of me, just looking inside of it to say, well, what am I going to gain from this? And the perspective changes almost instantaneously. I know you experience the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. Another good question is, how can I use this, whatever it is, to move me closer to my dreams? We use our wonderful skill, perception, and we look at it from a different angle. Where's the good in it? Let me find at least one good thing, and say thank you for it. Be grateful for it. And then all of a sudden the inspiration comes and you move past it, and then you can look back and say, oh, that's why that happened. It's made me stronger, and it has, catapulted me in a quantum leap toward what I wanted.
Exactly. And so, we're almost at the bottom of our half an hour here, but I think if you're out there and you're one of our serial quitters, murdering your dreams every single day that you go out there, just think about it. You know, you've been blessed with a very, very precious gift. It's a gift of free will. But free will is a balance. It's a balance. And you're continually throughout your life are going to always weigh in and weigh off of the balance of free will. Because you have the will to see the good and you have the will to not see it. That is your choice. And so when you understand that you're making choices when you quit, it's not something else made you quit. And I know you probably use that for an excuse, because I was thinking up some pretty good ones too. And I almost had myself convinced. So I get you. I know you can do it. But think it through. You know, think it through. If I quit, again, what does it say about me? And what is it saying? What is it doing inside of me? Every time you quit, trust me, a piece of you gets torn apart. You're breaking your own heart here.
Exactly, Mark. And, you know, every time you give in and you quit, then when you try something else, those same excuses are going to try to pull you back again.
Oh, yeah. So, you know what? I guess tonight, here's what I have to say. And I'm gonna leave all the last for you tonight, but I got something to say. Our perspective of anything in our lives, it's what shapes our reality. When Linda, let's go right back to the beginning of this, your subconscious and your conscious mind. You know, here's how, when you go to bed at night, your subconscious mind is figuring out everything that goes on in your day. It's actually just a filing cabinet. That's what it does. It takes experiences and decides where to file it. So if you went to bed with, you know, anger and animosity and I'm quitting, I can't deal with this, it's going to file it there, and that's going to be a memory that is going to draw upon every time you come against an obstacle. But if you had a bad day and you just kind of took those few minutes, like we always say, before you go to bed, before you go to sleep at night, just take that few minutes of sorting yourself. Well, that wasn't too bad. You know, I actually lived to see the day. You know, my hair's not on fire. I didn't lose my hands. You know, if you can go to bed with a different perspective, that will change your reality because it'll get filed differently. Your subconscious mind will go, oh, well, that's not bad. Made it through that one. Good for you. It'll root you on. And the next time you come up against it, it's not going to go, oh, stop. I remember this. Don't go there. Danger, danger, danger. It's going to say, hey, you know what? Last time we made it through. Let's give it a try. So, Linda, last words to you, my friend.
Oh, wow. Well, that was great advice, and I want to put another little something out there for everyone, because a lot of times I've heard people talk about how much they have to sacrifice in order to be successful. And really, you cannot achieve your greatest goals without sacrifice. But I want to make it very clear that sacrifice means just letting go of something of a lesser value for something of a greater value. And the biggest sacrifice that we're called to make is to let go of our limiting beliefs. You know, things that we believe maybe internally about ourselves. Let go of those beliefs that limit us. That's the lesser value. Let's replace those beliefs with beliefs that serve us on our journey to our destiny. And we all have that ability to do that every single day.
That's great. I really appreciate, Linda, that, you know, the calm. And, I mean, I really appreciate you and being my partner on this show. And I don't know, I know our listeners, loyal, listen to us each and every week. But I just wanted to say, Linda's fighting a battle of her life and is always someone who sees the good. And I know that that's the face of it, but I know that it's not always that easy. Because when you're going through something like this, no matter who we are, there's always that space and time where you think, why me? Why did this have to happen to me? And Linda is always the person who rebalances and reshifts. That's why she's the perfect shifter. And my friends, we hope that you're going to join us next week when we come up with something awesome. You can always leave us a line and let us know what you want to talk about, because we're always going to be here to chat with you. We appreciate each and every one of you who joins us every week. And from here in Canada, a balmy night tonight here. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Maury. Good night, Maury.